In 1938, President Franklin Delano Roosevelt signed the Fair Labor Standards Act into law, which was a huge trendsetter for American employment. There are many aspects created from this law. Advocates were pushing mainly for a maximum limit on hours worked per week, a ban on oppressive child labor, and most importantly, a national minimum wage. The first national minimum wage was only 25 cents per hour. 22 increases later, the national minimum wage is a seemingly significant $7.25 per hour. However, on a closer look, $7.25 per hour is just not enough for people to live off of. It's estimated that the average minimum wage worker earns about $14,500 per year. The poverty line for a family of 4 with 2 children under 18 is $23,550. Even if a household of 4 has 2 minimum wage workers, those families will barely squeak by or may still need to rely on government assistance due to cost of childcare. The cost of living has increased dramatically over the past 4 years. The Consumer Price Index, which is basically an average of how much consumers spend on products, increased 2.7% in 2009, 1.5% in 2010, 3% in 2011, and 1.7% in 2012. This is not to be confused with amount of money spent in total, but rather the amount that goods cost on average. With a minimum wage increase to $9 per hour by 2015, 15 million Americans would directly be affected, and there would be a decrease of people living under the poverty line. Not only does the minimum wage need to be raised, but it needs to be indexed to inflation every year after. Some people think that the money is not there for minimum wage workers, but it is really quite the opposite. An average top 350 CEO made over $14 million in 2012, which is 273 times more than the average worker in the United States, and about 965 times more than the average minimum wage worker. These CEOs had a salary increase of about 12.7% from 2011 to 2012, while the average worker pay fell by about $300. The money is basically there for corporations to better spread to employees, especially their minimum wage employees, but unless mandated by the government to do so, greed leads the money elsewhere. Some say that unemployment and inflation would result from a minimum wage increase, but research analyzing minimum wage increases over the years shows that when a minimum wage raise is justifiable, unemployment and the inflation rate are insignificantly affected. $9 per hour is justified due to the rising CPI, the Consumer Price Index, and proper indexation of the minimum wage years after is justified, as long as statistics are analyzed properly. This means that, sorry to the fast food working rioters, but you won't be getting that $15 per hour anytime soon. With a federal minimum wage increase to $9 per hour by 2015, and proper indexation of the minimum wage thereafter, we can help to mitigate poverty and to create a stronger middle class for the entire United States.